It wasn't just that. Also, my Yahoo decided to update, and then my Firefox decided to update. It was an update palooza right at the time we were trying to start the show. So
Update Palooza on a Tuesday. Go figure. You know what? Let's do this.
No, it's back. Give it to the quarterback. No, we got the running back. What?
Straight off the couch.
Here are the stories we're going to be chasing today.
the stories we'll be chasing today, boys and girls. Week 4 is in the books for the NFL season for the 2024-2025 years. Let me bring in my broadcast partner, the ever affable and effervescent Adam Weidel. Adam, how are you, buddy?
Bud, I'm happy that teams finally hit their stride this week and we had some competitive football. We are now basically the first quarter of the season is in the books. Can you believe that?
Yeah, it seems like we just started. I mean, seriously, you know what? It seems like we just started 2024 to me, though. My time is a concept, and I'm not really equipped to handle it very well. So
it's now October, and I'm looking at where did the rest of the year go?
Yeah, time's a construct, brother. Well, I have nothing to do with it. So
it's just the older you get. I think when you're a kid, tomorrow takes forever to get here, and then as an adult you blink and it's already 5 years are in the past.
Dude, I can't. I'm not ready for this. Let's not have this.
All right, maybe we'll put a pin in that one, and we'll have that discussion on maybe like on a more personal level and not on the show.
Yeah, that's a deep esoteric thing, and we're trying to keep this light, airy football shit.
So this week, teams hit their strides. They started to find their identity. Obviously, they have 3 weeks of tape that they've been watching against their competitors. We had some competitive football games.
Well, before we get too far into the game stuff, this just came across my transom just for the show. Von Miller suspended for 4 games after violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. This is from the UK Daily Mail. Dateline Buffalo. Star Von Miller was handed a 4-game suspension by the NFL on Tuesday afternoon. The linebacker has been suspended without pay for violating the league's personal conduct policy. Miller will be eligible for reinstatement on October 28th following the Bills' Week 8 game against the Seattle Seahawks. He could make his return to the field for the Bills' Week 9 matchup against the Miami Dolphins in Buffalo. It's currently unclear how Miller violated the policy. However, the ban comes almost a year after authorities issued an arrest warrant for Miller for allegedly assaulting a pregnant woman who was later identified as his girlfriend.
So I am skeptical if Von Miller even comes back. I think the Bills release him.
Yeah, because they got him for pretty much a song as it was. So, and he struggled.
He is an epic player, and he's had a legendary history, but
he struggled the last couple
of
years,
man. Flawed history.
Yeah, he struggled the last couple of years. This year he started to come on a little bit, but last year he had injuries, and the year before that he had injuries, and maybe his time in the NFL is over. But then again, there's always a team that might take a flyer on him. Carolina, for example.
I mean, Cleveland. Cleveland's a great place for
Sure, they like their felons there.
Yeah, or Las Vegas. They like to rehab those felony assaults over in Vegas.
Sure. So let's get to the Week 4 schedule. Thursday night kicked off with the Cowboys at Giants. It was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
So remember how I said the Thursday night game sets the tone for the rest of the weekend?
Mm-hmm.
This is a great example of it. And there was flaws on both sides of the ball. Okay, so let's get this right out of the way. The New York Giants did not score a touchdown.
No, 15 points, all 3 at a time.
Yeah. Cowboys didn't look great, but this is a divisional matchup. So you expect those divisional games to be tight. But the Cowboys did not look like the Cowboys that we thought were just like you and I were talking about it last week. You know, they misstepped. You know, they're going to get back on the bus, and they're going to have a stellar game. Well, it did not look like that at all.
No, I expected Dallas to win, yeah. But I thought this was going to be their get healthy week, and I think they have more questions after Thursday night than they did before Thursday night, which is never a good way to start the week.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a short week, so it's hard on, you know, teams that played on Sunday. You've got basically like 3 days rest because you've got practice and travel in there as well. So you're basically only resting for 3 days, and it's not even a full 3 days. You're getting maybe 1 day's rest.
So yeah, it was. Like I said, the Cowboys have more question marks now than they did before that Thursday night game. So what was there anything about that game in particular other than the lack of offensive production that you wanted to talk about, or you want to go ahead and move forward with the program?
Al Michaels was pretty much falling asleep before the half, and it was generally just a boring game. Like, I felt like, oh, okay, the second half will be better. These guys are going to make adjustments and all that sort of stuff, but it never happened.
Al's got I know they gave him a huge contract, and he's Al freaking Michaels, but dude, come on, Al.
I mean, the dementia's starting to kick in.
I honestly believe he believes because he's Al Michael, he deserves like big games. He should only be calling playoff games and Super Bowls now.
I think he's lost a few steps. He used to be a great commentator. He'd keep you engaged through the entire game, and now it seems like he's nodding off at the half.
Now he spends more time complaining about travel or the game or the amount of penalties than he does anything else. Yeah.
Right.
So the Sunday after early games, we had Bengals at Panthers. That went pretty much the way we expected it to. Saints at Falcons. The Falcons pulled out a win, which I wasn't expecting.
That was a crazy game.
That was a crazy game. And like you said, who in Atlanta thought that was a good look for their uniforms? But we'll get into that in the Coach Blackwell section of the show.
You got that. Yeah, who signed off on that one? But yeah, Bengals and Panthers. I did not think that it was going to be a 10-point game. I thought it was going to be a field goal because the Panthers started playing well.
Yeah.
You know, their record doesn't show it right now, but with Andy Dalton under center, he played good football.
They're performing a lot better for Andy Dalton than they were for
the Panthers are making a lot of mistakes as well. And we knew that Joe Cool would have to come out and, you know, erase that 0-3 record.
Well, it's no longer 0-3. It's 1-3, but
it's 1-3 now. Yeah.
I don't know if he's erased it or not. He's still there's something going on there in Cincinnati, and I don't know what it is, to be honest with you, because they really haven't had much turnover talent-wise. So there's something funky going on there. And we had Jaguars at Texans. Texans went ahead and took care of business, but that game was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
That was a strange one, and I thought maybe the Jags would, you know, make me wrong and get out of the basement this week.
No, they like it.
I'm still going to hold to their first win is in London.
No, they like it down there in the basement. It's really nicely modeled. There's a big screen TV, a wet bar. They might come out of the basement. And that brings us to the Broncos at Jets. Not one touchdown for the New York Football Jets, and I think there is trouble in New Jersey. Have you seen the body language between Rodgers and Saleh?
So both these teams, let's throw this one out there. The Jets and the Giants play in the same stadium, for those that don't know, and they both had a home game, one Thursday night, one Sunday afternoon early window, and neither team scored a touchdown at home.
Yeah, that's wild. And Bo Nix, he's still a rookie, but he looks like he's improving every week to me. It looks like he's getting a little better. Once
again, another one of those boring games. It was a hard one to watch. Thank you, Red Zone, for keeping us in the action all the time. But yeah, I was focusing on Falcons and Saints a lot because that game was crazy fun to watch.
Go ahead.
The Vikings-Packers game was another, like, wow, what's going on here?
How did Minnesota, because at one point in time they were up 21-3. How did they let Green Bay get back in that game?
I don't understand that either. Like their defense just shut down, and I mean it was close though. I thought, oh geez, if the Packers can get this ball back, they can win with an upset field goal in the last 2 seconds of the game.
And as somebody who just despises the Packers, I love the fact that their backup is 2-0 and Jordan Love is 0-2.
I mean, I did see you set up a little controversy with the straight off the couch brand in a couple groups, and there's some people pretty mad.
The one guy goes, "Yeah, what do you think? They're still better than NFC North, blah 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 blah." And then somebody responded, "Yeah, let the show begin."
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm just here for the popcorn.
And that brings us to Steelers Colts. Your boy Flacco came back
dude. Oh my God.
Jojo came out and played.
I had people over and I was grilling, and it was a beautiful day. It was like 72 degrees, and sun was out. I figured get the old charcoal going, cook up some food for everybody. We'll watch all the games and stuff, and every time Flacco was on the screen, I'm like, that's my boy.
Hey, I expected the Steelers to win that game, and they lost. So Joe Flacco did what he wanted them to do.
And that's another game where the Colts let them back into the game.
Yeah.
At one point, it was 17-0.
Yeah. What is going on with? Well, we saw that all day Sunday, though. I mean, there were teams down 21 points that were back in the game in the second half. So, which brings us to Rams at Bears. I'm a little surprised the Bears won, but I'm glad they won.
Great defensive stand. You guys can put up defensive points. So, like, thank goodness for that.
Well, and the Rams have a good defense too. I mean, they did a pretty good job of stifling Caleb Williams. However, once again, every week I see a little more progression out of him, and the Bears are asking him to do stuff that not a lot of teams ask a lot of quarterbacks to do, let alone first-year rookies. So that'll be interesting to watch. The Buccaneers just took Philadelphia to town.
I was saying to everybody here, I was like, oh my God, Terry and I might have to make a trip to Florida just to buy Baker some DQ.
DQ and sprinkles. I told you, if you win, sprinkles are on us. So
next week, peanut butter cups, whipped cream, those little gummy bears that you like so much. We got you, buddy.
All of it is on us, Bake, because damn.
Man, that guy, he's doing so well. And you know what? Bucks defense really stepped up, but I think there's problems in Philadelphia right now.
Yeah,
Philly's not looking great.
No, it's starting to look that way. I was Jason Kelsey holding everything together, and now that he's gone, it's going to fall apart.
I don't think it was Jason Kelsey. I think their center's really good, but Hurts is just not looking like the number one guy. Like he's making too many mistakes. I'm watching him fumble the ball. I'm watching him, do like forward passes that are, getting intercepted and be right out of his hand.
Right.
Like that one pass was just like, I don't think it went 3 feet.
I don't think so either. And that brings us to our late slate of games. Niners over the Patriots. I'm sorry, dude. that San Francisco got healthy on your guys. That had to suck.
I heard a lot of "don't look at the TV, honey." That's what I heard a lot of during that game. And the Patriots, they're on their sixth rebuild year, and the Niners have shown that they're pretty diverse. I didn't expect this out of this Niners team with the number of injuries that they have, but they filled those slots with good guys. Christian
McCaffrey went over to Germany to have his legs looked at. That's not looking good.
It's not looking good for him right now. They're saying that this is probably career ending for him right now.
Yeah,
a lot of people are blaming it on the Madden curse because he got the cover of Madden.
Well, and it's tendonitis, but it's a form of tendonitis that, according to what I read, that is actually derived from overworking out, putting in too much effort, trying too hard. And Christian, he was a workout machine, so maybe he overdid it trying to stay ready for the season and caused himself this problem. But we'll have to wait and see.
But in all fairness with him, he's only had one completely healthy season.
Yeah, no, that's true.
With San Francisco. When he was with the Panthers, he was injured riddled all the time.
Yeah, it seems like he started strong, and about November he'd go down for 3 or 4 weeks and come back. Yeah. That brings us to another one of the late games, Commanders at Cardinals. Who saw Washington being this good?
Did not see that coming. That kid knows how to quarterback.
Yeah, he's pretty good at it. He might want to think about a career doing this, because
he might want to think about actually like playing professionally or something.
Yeah, because he looks pretty good.
He's reminding me of C.J. Stroud last year.
He is. He's looking a lot like Stroud did last year. That brings us to Chief at Chargers. Chiefs and their best friend / girlfriend / bitch on the line, the officiating crew.
I'll be honest, that game was a big snoozer for me.
Not a lot going on, no.
No, a lot of yellow flags everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like it took forever for that game to happen.
It did. It did.
I was not a fan. I like a lot of action. You know, I like good defenses. I like good offenses. But when you start throwing penalties every play or every second play, it really slows down the pace of the game.
It really does detract from the enjoyable experience that we would normally expect. Yeah, that's true.
But I'm also thinking psychologically with the players, because they get into a rhythm, and just like
they're not allowed to because the officials keep stepping in. That's
exactly
a very valid point. And the last Sunday afternoon game we had, Browns at Raiders.
Yeah,
Cleveland's just a shit show, man. It's a feces exposition from hell.
They need to make a trade with Indianapolis for their guy. Get their guy back. 40-year-old quarterback that's seems to win everywhere he goes.
Speaking of trades, because the Chiefs lost one of their wide receivers with probably a season-ending ACL. The rumor mill in Chicago is saying that they've already been in contact with the Bears about trading for Keenan Allen.
Nah, I think Kansas City's going to pick somebody up from somewhere. And, there's always these rumors like, oh, so-and-so's going here or going there or whatever.
Yep.
But they have very little cap space, so they can't really afford anybody.
They can't. But the Keenan Allen thing makes sense to me because they saw him twice a year for his entire career. They know what they get with him. So I can see the puzzle pieces fitting there, with the exception of, like you said, the salary. But
he just went to Chicago.
Yeah, but that was a trade. I don't think that wasn't his idea. And at the end of his career, he may be willing to take a little bit of a pay cut to get a ring to walk away with.
Fair enough. And I mean, let's be honest. Kansas City is the hands down favorite to win the Super Bowl right now.
Right. And like I said, one last year catching passes from Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, I can see that working out.
So the Raiders game, you notice Devontae Adams was not playing.
No, he was a non-healthy scratch, is how they describe it.
It doesn't sound like their situation that I think the honeymoon's over, especially after the Raiders dealing Carr to the Big Easy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be ironic if Adams shows up in New York?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Goes to Kansas City.
Wouldn't surprise me a bit if he goes to New York, because him and Rodgers. I saw him twice a year when they were together. The shit they did together was mind-boggling. It was like, where the hell? How did he get that open? And he was hands down Rodgers' favorite target, and there was a reason for it, because for some reason when the play broke down and Rodgers started scrambling, Adams somehow found the spot that Aaron wanted to throw the ball to 90% of the time. It was wild to watch.
Now, do you think Devontae wants to go play with Aaron, looking at how that team's in shit shape right now, or do you think he's at the end of his, good years to win a ring, and KC offers him something?
KC, I can see that happening too, but I don't know if he would fit in emotionally with. The Chiefs.
I just like to throw it out there. It's documented this way, so when it does happen, we can say, hey, they're listening.
That brings us to the Sunday night late game. Wow. I didn't see this one coming at all. Ravens at Bills, and the Ravens got up early, and I think I think the Bills were hoping just make it to the middle of the third quarter and the Ravens will fall apart. And honestly, in the middle of the third quarters, it looked like Baltimore found another gear.
Yeah, so the Ravens definitely got up early in the morning and had their Wheaties and were ready for the day.
Yeah, it was a good game. It really was.
They basically handed the Bills a death sentence and said, "You guys better fix your shit because the first 3 weeks you are not the same team today."
No.
And we're showing you that. We found your weakness.
They did, and you could see they kept showing Josh Allen on the sidelines. He was becoming visibly frustrated. And when you get the quarterback of the opposing team to show that much emotion and frustration, you're doing something right.
We had a lot of that this week. The number one guys, the either QB1 or WR1 or whoever on every team, that when they were losing, you could see visible frustration on the sidelines.
Which brings
and
us
arguing with coaches.
Which brings us to our early game Monday night, Titans at Dolphins.
I like the fact that we're calling it an early game. It was like, the 7:30 Eastern start, and the other game starts at 8:15, but they somehow end at the same time.
Tyreek Hill having a little bit of a meltdown on the sidelines.
Oh yeah,
there.
for sure. And that game was it ended up 31-12 at the end, right? But
correct.
I think for the most of it was like 6-3.
It was. It wasn't.
It was a hard watch.
I didn't watch it. As soon as the other game, the last game we can talk about, the Seahawks at Detroit, as soon as that started, I flipped over, and I'm not sad I did. That was a barn burner of a football game.
That was a great football game. Now back to Titans Dolphins. They replaced Skyler. I can't remember. He's forgettable. Their
second string quarterback. They had to go to the third string guy because the second string guy had an injury. They're going to have to put him on IR.
They made a deal with Tyler Huntley like a week ago he held up pretty good for Baltimore when Lamar was out.
He didn't look bad to be what little bit of I saw. I mean, his throws looked crisp, his reads looked good, but I
was expecting more out of him, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think that team doesn't have a clue what's going on right now.
No, and and Tua being on IR doesn't help because most of the focus is not on the Dolphins and what they're doing and how they can improve. It's all on is Tua going to play or not again, and that's kind of screwing with everybody's heads. I think, even though they're probably trying not to read or watch TV or anything like that, it's still there and they're still hearing it and getting hit with it. And I think it's playing a little havoc with their heads.
Fair enough.
And the last game we're going to talk about, Seattle at Detroit. Whoa, Nelly.
What a game. Now, to start this game off, they are in Detroit and they honor number 81, Calvin Johnson. They have a big ceremony, but we didn't get to see it.
No, because of the way they didn't have a regular. You know what? I didn't even think to check ESPN too. I bet they had Monday Night Countdown going on ESPN too, and I didn't even think to check that.
No, they didn't. So they were using the first game, the Titans Dolphins game, as their kind of a springboard to that game. Because I've got both channels. So I kept refreshing. I thought, 8 o'clock, the game's got to be on now. It's an 8:15 start. The game's got to be on now. They waited till exactly 10 after 8. And it was like, welcome to Monday Night Football on ESPN. We had to hear the song.
Yeah. Their new song, which is just the same song they've been playing every year for the last 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had to hear the song again. And no mention of Megatron at all. They were ESPN was all about Pete Rose dying,
Yeah, I know he's the hit king and all that, but Pete, you gambled against teams you were managing. You don't deserve the Hall. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's controversial. I mean, he died. He had a full life. 83, he dies.
But
yeah, they wanted to honor Pete Rose, who was basically,
he was a cheater.
Ousted.
He was a cheater.
Ousted from the league because of betting against himself.
yeah, he was a cheater. Lions come out in the all black with the blue, and that's a really good looking uniform. Seattle was in all white except for the helmets. But I was texting with my buddy Chris. Could we possibly see a little defense in the second half?
Yeah, like the doors just came right off after halftime. I don't know what happened there. It was like 21-7 at the half, and then it was 21-14 when the half opened, and then it was 28-14, then it was 28-21. It was, I mean, it was exciting football though. Let's be honest.
Geno Smith had a career day.
So did Jared Goff.
Yeah. Jared Goff, by the way, boys and girls, perfect. 18 for 18, 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown, no interceptions.
That little pass from Amon-Ra St. Brown was beautiful.
You know what that reminded me of? Other than it being a wide receiver?
The Philly special?
No. 1985 Chicago Football Bears, Walter Payton throwing to Jim McMahon to win a game.
Oh my God. Yeah, okay. We've seen some misdirection, and the Lions seem to have this misdirection thing down pat. There's always a trick play every game now.
Oh no, I think you could call it every quarter because they were doing something different every quarter. Like when Goff rolled out to his left, and it looked like it was going to be a screen to the end zone, and he threw it to Amon-Ra St. Brown behind the center.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Just a wild looking play, man.
The entire game was exciting for me, and I honestly thought that the Seahawks were going to come back and possibly, defend their undefeated record.
They put up a better fight than I expected out of them, and right until like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they were still in that game.
Yeah, well, that's when the game got away from them. You go down 2 scores, and that's when they're just like, oh. Okay, the air came out of the tires now.
Yeah, because the Lions had scored and Seattle wouldn't answer. The Lions had scored and Seattle wouldn't answer. The Lions scored and Seattle wouldn't. And then that there was the one where they had to punt and the Lions scored again. It was like, okay, we run out of time. We're not going to be able to catch up at this point in time.
So looking at our picks for the week, you and I both picked Cowboys and we were correct. You picked the Bills. I picked the Ravens. So I got that one on you. You picked the Titans, and I picked the Dolphins, so you got that one back, and we both picked the Lions. So we're still at the same spot we were last week, but the score is now 10 Terry, 7 Adam.
So let's bring in Coach Blackwell because we did have.
Oh, fashion. Woo! It's fashion time. All right, Terry. This week we had Arizona came out in their all red with the white helmets again. They like that color rush.
That looked good on them too.
And then we had Atlanta decide to goose step onto the field with their 1943 Hitler Youth uniforms.
Hated it.
Oh my God, did that ever look bad? Even with that alternate logo, I was calling them the Third Reich the entire time.
Hated it.
Wow, was that a bad? I don't know who signed off on that, but it just wow.
That's a bad look. Yeah, that does look very SS-like.
Baltimore were dressing for a funeral this time. They went full blackout. They went black on black on black, and they put Buffalo in the coffin.
I knew it was going to be a good day when I saw the black unis.
Cincinnati came out all sexy with their black outfits with the orange trim, orange helmets.
Saucy
turned their season around just a little bit. Big shocker, Cleveland. White on white on white. Who is wearing white after Labor Day? I tell you who. The Cleveland Browns. They had no brown on them except maybe their numbers.
I'm going to think in their pants a little too after that loss.
The backs of their pants could have been a little brown. Detroit, as you mentioned, comes out blackout with a sexy blue matte helmet. Yum, that looked great.
And the lion decals. Mwah.
Absolutely gorgeous. New Orleans comes out with white on white with their gold helmet. They still don't have an alternative helmet, but that white on white looked pretty good.
Pretty sharp down there in the bayou.
And then, as you mentioned, Seattle white on white, but with the blue helmet. They're just piecing uniforms together at this point.
They went through they went through their closet, and that's all they had to wear. That was the only thing that was.
They
clear.
were just like, all I have is the white pants and
It's
the
such
white
a crazy,
top.
such a crazy day.
And then we have probably my favorite point of the games this weekend was like some of the teams had sideline gear and they were wearing their fabulous Crucial Catch sideline uniforms. Nice hoodies, shirts, and hats.
Yay!
And that's to fight cancer.
Sure it is. I think it's just to fill the NFL's pocketbooks, but okay, it's to fight cancer.
That is to fill October because October is Cancer Awareness Month. So they say, hey, we're doing something. And then next month will be Salute to Service. So we'll get like some camo outfits and stuff. And that'll add to the fashion.
Well, and that'll do it for the fashion segment as we see Coach Blackwell walk out the door. I should say saunter out the door because he's a fashionable kind of guy. And that brings us to week 5 in the NFL.
All right. So this week, thank goodness, we are back to somewhat of a normal schedule. I'm kind of happy about this, except we have something weird happening on Sunday. So we got to talk about this. But first, we have Thursday night football with Al Michaels. He probably won't fall asleep during this game. We've got Bucks visiting the Falcons, and hopefully the Falcons, don't wear their Third Reich outfits.
The Falcons are weird this year because they look like they're a nightmare and a train wreck, and they're in every game. Even if they don't win them, they're in them at the end. So
they've got a pretty healthy looking lineup on paper, but it's just they weren't gelling.
no,
And now everybody's starting to gel because they've had time to look at tape.
Mm-hmm.
They've had time to work out and practice together.
Mm-hmm.
They've played some games. They're figuring out who they are. They're getting their identity. And I think we're going to start to see some competitive football this week.
If the same Buccaneers team shows up Thursday night that showed up this weekend, Atlanta's done for.
I don't think we get that. I think this is a divisional match. I think it's going to be just like the Saints game. I think it's going to be 2 or 3 points. It's going to be silly. Something weird's going to happen.
So I'm
Now-
I'm going Buccaneers with who I would expect to win this one.
You're going Bucks. I got to knock that down there. I'm going to go Bucks too. I can't go against our boy right now.
He's looking out. He was looking awful sharp. Sunday early games, we have Jets at Vikings.
At 9:30 a.m.
Yeah, that's a little odd.
What's going on there?
And it's not like
didn't-
sometimes that happens when they're like overseas or something. But
When they're overseas, sure. So
but-
I'm just going to click on it right now and see what the heck is happening. Like, can we get some info on this?
No, they're in Minnesota. I mean, it's
Why would they play at 9:30 in the morning?
I don't know. Maybe it's a scheduling thing where they needed the stadium later in the day for cheese or something.
Maybe it's a typo. Maybe it's
Yeah, because
I've seen
I've
seen this on NFL Network before. When I showed you that said the Kansas City.
You say NFL Network. Most of these 8:30 games are on an alternative source. Like, remember one year it was on Yahoo and one year it was on NFL Network. Maybe this is a contractual thing for the NFL Network to get a game on NFL Network. That makes sense in my little brain.
9:30 in the morning, though. Okay, well, I guess I'll be waking up early on. Actually, no, I won't be. I'll be out on the weekend, so I will be like driving home and keeping track of the score, I guess, and then I'll have to watch the replay on that one.
And I would expect the Vikings to take that one handily with the way the Jets are performing right now. And that brings us to the afternoon, the noon slate of games. Panthers at Chicago. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised there. Browns at Commanders. Once again, I don't see anything earth-shattering going on. Dolphins at Patriots. Yeah, that's good. I'm not getting excited about that. Joe Flacco.
I think the Patriots might actually be able to win that game, though.
The way the Dolphins are playing, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Joe Flacco is going into Jacksonville to play the Jaguars.
And I expect Indy to take that 100%.
Yeah, oh yeah. And that's a divisional game as well. Then we have Bills at Texans. That has the potential to be a good game. Ravens at Bengals. I'm seeing the Ravens take that one, and that brings us.
Divisional match though, so you never know what could happen. We could see both these teams being 2-3 by the time that game's done.
It's fair observation on your part, and that brings us to the afternoon slate of games: Raiders at Broncos.
Yeah, divisional match,
and that could go either way. Cardinals at Niners.
Another divisional match.
And both those teams really seem to be hitting their stride right now. I wouldn't want to call that one right now. Giants at Seahawks. So New York is going to fly all the way across the country and go to Seattle. There might be a little jet lag.
Deal with that elevation.
Yeah. So I don't picture New York performing very well. Then we have Green Bay going to Los Angeles for our last game in the afternoon slate. I
think Green Bay takes that game.
I would love to see Jordan Love go 0-3.
I think Green Bay takes that game. The Rams are pretty beat up right now. I don't see anything on the wire saying that they're expecting people to come back healthy.
Right.
They're down. They have no Puka Nacua. He's a playmaker for them. A lot of their defense is banged up. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I see the Packers taking that one, unfortunately.
And that brings us to our Sunday night game. I'm having trouble even. I might not watch this game. It's Cowboys at Pittsburgh.
So when I put it on our list, on our sheet of picks, I was just like, really? And you know what? I went all the way up to week 17 because the week 18 games aren't scheduled, and I almost barfed a bunch of times. So I was just like, really? That is your primetime game?
Cowboys at Steelers? I mean, the Cowboys get way too much press, number one. Justin Fields last week struggled a little bit. But the Cowboys may be the perfect prescription to get healthy. If I have to pick this one, I think I'd go Pittsburgh.
Okay, we're both going Pittsburgh with this one too then. Just for the simple fact of the matter is that they're at Heinz Field. They're pretty good there.
Mm-hmm.
They're also an amazing defensive team. They've always been a great defensive team.
But this year they look like they're top 2, top 3. Yeah, they're looking really, really good this year.
So I can't see the Cowboys squeaking a win out on this one.
And that brings us to our last game Monday night, Saints at Kansas City. The Saints are putting up wild points, but they haven't played a defense like Kansas City's.
And the Chiefs are not putting up wild points.
No, there's something going on in Kansas City. So.
And they're at Arrowhead, which is probably one of the loudest stadiums in the league.
But I would have a hard time picking against Kansas City and their girlfriend, the officiating crews. So.
Oh no, Terry. I want to see. So I'm gonna go against the vibe, and I'm picking the Saints on this one.
Okay, that's your prerogative.
I just can't see the Chiefs having like a perfect season. They're just not playing that well. Now, yes, you have a point. The officiating has been abominable. It's just been disastrous.
I can't wait till the officiating crews hit their strides and they start gelling as a cohesive unit. Because, I mean, last night there was a touchdown. Nobody gave any indication it was a touchdown.
There was no signal. There was no signal. They were celebrating, and the TV said touchdown, but the officiating were just like, do we call it?
And then,
is it a touchdown?
And then they kicked the extra point, and it was like, I guess it was a touchdown.
Yeah, and then they called back that play where Goff got tackled in the end zone and tried to get the ball out, and then they were confused on that as well, and they were just like 10 minutes later, they're like, that's a safety. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
So we're just gonna stand around with our dicks in our hands for there's 6 of you out there. Like, get your shit together. And talk to New York.
And
you've
there's
got 27,000 angles.
And there's somebody in New York watching those 27,000 angles. And a good thing they went to commercial. Otherwise, I don't think they'd have gotten that right.
No, I mean, it was a good call in the end, for them to call it back, because yes, it didn't break the plane when the ball actually touched the ground. So yeah, it's a safety by rule. But yeah, they just dropped the ball. The officiating was weird last night.
It wasn't very good in Detroit at all. Anything else we need to cover here?
Yeah, so besides, people being criminals and breaking their legs and stuff, like Rashee Rice tearing his ACL because of Patrick Mahomes is kind of funny. That was the one play that I was just like, oh, you hate to see a player get injured, but when it's your own player that injures him, you're just like,
and imagine the shit he's getting from his teammates because he got taken out by a quarterback. It wasn't even like a defensive lineman; it was a quarterback.
But Mahomes is the golden boy. He can do no wrong. Yeah. Everybody in Kansas City loves him.
That's true. That's true. So I guess that'll do it for this week.
That's a wrap for this week, I guess. Yeah.
Well, where can the boys and girls find us at, Adam?
Oh, so we're doing a lot of things on the Book of Faces these days. Terry's stirring up the pot on different groups and stuff, but you can check out our page, Straight Off the Couch, on Facebook. And
hey, I just shared it. I didn't stir a pot. I just shared what I put on our page, and if there was some pot stirring going on, so be it.
We also have a Linktree, so Linktree / Straight Off the Couch. You could check out where all our social platforms are and all our different podcast platform, or I guess hosters. I don't even know what you call these people. Different platforms
outlets.
To like list outlets. That's a good one. Yeah. So. If you have a preferred one, usually we're on Spotify, and it goes to all the different outlets. But Spotify has a poll up, and you can kind of engage with us every week and give us your thoughts. Other than that, on X or Twitter, I'm at Adam Off the Couch. How about you, Terry?
You can find me at TREMUP on the X, and I think I'm on the gram at Terry.
And if you want, you can find us both sitting on our couches watching football.
Yep. If I'm not yelling at my kids. So for my broadcast partner, the ever affable and effervescent Adam Whitehall, it's Straight Off the Couch. Week 4 is in the books. Be safe. God bless. Bye-bye, everybody.
Have a great week.